Today we're reading part 2 of Misty of Chincoteague by Marguerite Henry. This is Behind the Scenes. Chapter 2, The Island of the Wild Things. The ponies were exhausted and their coats were heavy with water, but they were free. They raised their head and snuffled the wind. The smell was unlike that of lowland moors of Spain, but it was good. They sucked in their sharp, sweet pungence of pine wood, and somewhere mixed in the piney smell that came with the inciting scent of salt grass. Their stomachs were pinched with hunger, but the ponies did not seek the grass at once. They shook the waters from their coats. They rolled back and forth in the sand, enjoying the solid feel of land. At last, the stallion's hunger stirred him to action. He rounded up his mares, and with only a watery moon, the light of the wave, he drove them through the needle-carpeted woods. The mares stopped to eat the leaves of some myrtle bushes, but the stallion jolted them into line, that he took the lead. So direct was his progress, it seemed almost as if he had trodden here before, through bramble and thicket, through brackish pools of water. Then he led the way. The moon was high overhead when his little band came out of the grassy marshland. They stood at the moment to listen to the white blades of grass whisper and squeak in the wind, to sniff the tickling smell of saltgrass. That was it. That was the exciting smell that had urged in the long grass. They bit and tore great mouthfuls, frantic, as if they were afraid to might not last. Oh, the salty goodness of it, not bitter at all, but the juicy sweet with rain. It was different from any grass they knew. It billowed and shimmered like the sea. They could never get enough of it, that delicious salty taste. Never had they known anything like it, never, and sometimes they came upon tender patches of lesperedes, a kind of clover that grew among the grasses. The ponies forgot the 40 days and 40 nights in the dark hold of Spanish galleon. They forgot the musty hay. They forgot the smell of bilge water, of oil and fishy odors from the cooking gallery. When they could eat no more, they pawed shallow wells with their hooves from drinking water. Then they rolled in the weary grass, letting out great whinnies of happiness. They seemed unable to believe that the island was all their own, not a human being anywhere, only grass and sea and sky. And the wind was at last they slept. The seasons came and went, and the ponies adopted the new world as their own. They learned how to take care of themselves. When summer came, and with it the green head flies by day and the mosquitoes by night, they plunged into the sea, up to their necks in the cool surf. The sea was their friend. Once it had set them free, now it protected them from their fiercest enemies. Winter came and grass yellowed and dried, but the ponies discovered that close to their roots it was still green and good to eat. Even when a solid firm of ice sealed the land, they did not go hungry. They broke through the ice with their hooves and went over the woods to eat the myrtle leaves that stayed green all winter. Snow was a new experience, too. They blew at it, making little snow flurries of their own. They tasted it. It melted on their tongue. Snow was good to drink. If the Spaniards had seen their ponies now, they would have been startled at the changed appearance. No longer were their coats sleek. They were thick and shaggy, as the coats of any sheepdog. This was a good thing. On bitter days, they stood close huddled for comfort. Each pony could enjoy the added warmth of his neighbor's coat as well as his own. There were no wolves or wildcats on this island, but there was deep, mirrory mud to trap creatures and suck them down. After desperate struggles, the ponies learned how to fall to their knees, then sidle and wiggle along like crabs until they were well out of it. With each season, the ponies grew wiser, and with each season they became together and more hardy. Horse colts and fillies were born to them. As the horse colts grew big, they rounded up mares of their own and started new herds that ranged wild as the wind and the seas that had brought them there ago. Years went by, and more years. Changes came to Chincoteague. The red men came, the white men came. The white men built a lighthouse to warn ships of dangerous reefs. They built a handful of houses and a white church, but soon the houses stood empty. The people moved their homes and their church to the nearby Chincoteague Island, for Chincoteague belonged to the wild things, to the wild birds that nested on it, and the wild ponies whose ancestors had lived on it since these days of the Spanish galleon.